Now, if you're currently watching this video and haven't seen the Gooby Files Part 1 video, then I suggest watching that before you watch this one. But if you're one of the many viewers who have been waiting for the sequel to the Gooby Files, then continue watching. I would also like to warn you that this video does contain discussion of pedophilia, suicide, zoophilia, and grooming. If you're easily triggered by any of those topics I just mentioned, then I suggest clicking off now, because Gooby has conducted all of those. The Gooby Files document is linked in the description below and has been updated with all of the new information that I've ever found ever since my previous installment of this series. And like I've stated previously, and I bet there's a lot more screenshots floating out there that I just don't know about yet. That includes behavior just like this. Unfortunately, I was right. Ever since I made the Gooby Files, a ton of people came to me with some of the most groundbreaking evidence on Gooby I have ever seen. And it is worth mentioning that this evidence contains Gooby doing some of the most deplorable things I've ever seen anybody do on the internet alone. And it's not just him, his friends are almost as equally as bad as him, but we will get into that shortly. We have a lot to get into for this video, and the rabbit hole gets pretty deep. So grab your water, grab all your snacks, and let's dive right into it.
Brought to my attention that a known pedophile slash doxer known as JustGooby, or Gooby for short, and his little Discord gang is planning an attack against my channel.
There's so much evidence on JustGooby, and it's disgusting that people are so brain dead that they want to defend him. They want to dox people. They want to try to intimidate.
He's not trying to disprove anything. Does he understand that people are mad at him? Does he understand there's a lot of disdain towards him right now?
You, Gooby. Don't f with me. Doxing YouTubers. He should be worried about all the f***ing charges that are being put against him. Seriously, I mean, if you're doing that. Well, especially, you've heard about the CP stuff, right? No. Watch the Gooby Files video.
So for those of you who have made it this far into the video and still don't know who Gooby is exactly or don't know how he gained his popularity, then let me fill that in for you. Gooby, who is also legally referred to as John, is a former Roblox influencer with over 16,000 subscribers on YouTube and is either in his late 20s or early 30s of age according to these screenshots. And I also just want to mention real quick that Gooby has had multiple aliases and changed his profile picture multiple times on Discord to pretty much hide his name from the looks of it. But with that out of the way, Gooby essentially gained his popularity from working with another former Roblox influencer known as Napkinnate, who used to make jailbreak content years back then randomly disappeared off the face of the planet. Yeah, I'm not joking, and that is no exaggeration because from what I know, literally nobody has heard anything of Napkinnate ever since he stopped uploading. But since Napkinnate was a popular channel with an impressive 900,000 subscribers, this basically promoted Gooby a ton, especially when they used to make videos together, which over time gained him a little bit of an audience. But as of around August of 2022, there have been a ton of accusations of Napkinnate being arrested for domestic violence against a family member. And there has even been a police document and supposed mugshot of Nate that I'll have censored due to legal reasons. And due to all of this proof that I've been shown, and what's been said to me by many people, I believe that Napkinnate was most likely arrested, which would explain his sudden disappearance. But honestly, I don't know what could have caused Nate to snap. But this video isn't entirely about Napkinnate, so I digress. Looking further into Gooby himself, he has publicly stated on a video made by another jailbreak content creator known as Neatso that he was stalked and abused by Napkinnate and how Gooby was living off of rent from his part-time job. And to put it into more basic terms, Napkinnate would not pay Gooby much even though they would record together around 10 hours each session. Gooby basically attempted to paint Napkinnate as the villain in all of this, and keep in mind that this was around the time when Napkinnate was accused for being arrested. And it's worth mentioning that Gooby has responded to some doxing screenshots on him by saying that they are out of context, even though from all this evidence and what will be shown and what's been said by many people, everything said on him is indeed true.
Also, the doxing screenshot that you saw is literally taken out of context and was a troll to a completely different person. We used to troll very hardcore in the server before, and that's why I shoved the invites, because I didn't want anyone's feelings being hurt by others.
But since you should now be familiar on who Gooby is and how he gained all of his popularity, let's dive into the tip of the iceberg of Gooby's horrific actions.
Gooby himself would join my Discord server, telling me to stop any drama with him while simultaneously calling me a racist slur.
So, Gooby and his Discord members have harassed other people by doing raids to other people's Discord servers. In these screenshots, you can see some of Gooby's moderators and friends raiding other Discord servers for no apparent reason whatsoever. To further prove my point of Gooby's harassment, this person by the name of Doubles WWE commented on my Gooby Files Part 1 video and had this to say. I've had my own experience with Gooby not that long ago. I've been shown screenshots of himself and others in his Discord server wanting my information doxed, and he at one point raided my own server from his own account to spam the different channels that I have. Another thing to keep in mind that Gooby is allegedly a scammer according to these screenshots. Now, to make things worse, Gooby and his friends harassed someone known as Liam from YouTube. And Liam is actually a content creator, so this controversy between Gooby and this YouTuber occurred when Liam was only 13 years old, barely even a teenager. So in these screenshots, you can see some of Gooby's server members saying pretty bad stuff about a once again 13-year-old. Now sure, from what I was told, this Liam from YouTube guy had allegedly photoshopped messages of Gooby and attempting to get a reaction out of him, but keep in mind that that is alleged and not confirmed nor denied. But once again, the kid is super young, and just because he may have annoyed you or whatever does not give you the right to have your friends say vile things about him, and simply not doing anything about it from the looks of it. As the adult in the situation, you should have had a more mature decision, but since this is Gooby we're talking about, this is much expected. Liam has stated on Twitter that Gooby dogs people, which I can confirm is true, but not long after he made that tweet, Gooby surprisingly blocked him. And I was being sarcastic, that's not really surprising at all. Gooby tends to block people who expose him on Twitter. This has been proven with someone known as Destructor because he got blocked by Gooby ever since he made videos on him. And since Gooby himself is blocking people who expose the truth on him, that basically just proves all the points that are being made on him. Now, keep in mind that this is only the beginning, so as the video goes on, the more vile and criminal things will get. And trust me when I say it gets more disturbing from here. Now, for this next section of the video, we're going to be talking about a subject surrounding zoophilia. So if you're sensitive to topics like that, then I suggest clicking to this timestamp on the screen. But with that out of the way, let's get right into it. So in Gooby's Discord server, he has said some very weird and nasty things about animals. I'm not joking, just take a look at the screen recording from his server. As you can see, Gooby talks about dolphins specifically and about their you-know-what. This is just very weird and disturbing to say the least. And it's most certainly not normal to be attracted to animals and dolphins specifically in that manner. Honestly, just some very weirdo behavior of Gooby, and like I previously mentioned, it gets way worse. But just think that all the screenshots in this video were mainly from his server alone. Just imagine what we haven't seen of Gooby, and as we go on in this video, you will see how frightening that statement really is.
Again, he can sit there and try to defend himself as much as he wants, saying, oh, well, the doxing was taken out of context and all that stuff, even though there's proof out there.
So, since my previous Gooby Files video, some more screenshots of Gooby, his friends, and Discord moderators have been leaked. In these screenshots, you can see Gooby saying he's gonna dox other people who are most likely minors, considering all of Gooby's victims are in fact under the age of 18 when they were being harassed by Gooby. And to add on top of it, a moderator of Gooby admitted to doxing a 13-year-old and even went as far as to running a DDoS attack to literally fry his internet router. Just to put it simply, the kid's only 13, which is once again super young, and to make matters worse, a router can cost over $150 US. The kid did absolutely nothing to them, and from the looks of it, Gooby promotes this type of behavior. Not only that, but another moderator of the server has doxed people as well, and you will begin to realize that this is a very common occurrence of Gooby's server. I would also love to mention that another moderator named Inactive, or more known as Nathan, commented on my previous Gooby Files video and said that my video is based on false allegations and rumors. That is just completely false because literally every single piece of evidence in his video has been backed up by multiple people, been spread throughout multiple YouTube videos, and not to mention that there are little screen recordings of Gooby's server. From what I've seen and from what others have seen, there is no proof of any of this evidence being fake whatsoever. Plus, Nathan is apparently, according to others, a known groomer and is trying to be the moral authority in this situation. Yeah, sure thing, buddy. Now, there are a ton of victims of Gooby, and he has done different deplorable things to each one of them. But to keep it simple for now, there are around 11 confirmed victims that have been doxxed. But that's only the doxing part alone and not including the groomed victims, which we will get into later. I will not be stating the names of the majority of the victims due to privacy reasons, and I can't show all of the screenshots for some of the victims, but a lot of them have come forward about Gooby and his horrible actions. And it has been confirmed that this is all true by many people, and I mean a lot of people. This literally cannot be made up whatsoever by any means. But I will talk about the victims that I'm allowed to speak on shortly. Doxing is a very bad act that can put people's lives in danger and should never be considered as some hardcore troll, which is what Gooby tried to play it out as shown earlier.
Also, the doxing screenshot that you saw is literally taken out of context and was a troll to a completely different person. We used to troll very hardcore in the server before.
I would also like to further prove my points by uncovering some more recent information I just received about how a guy got sent a religious book to his house without consent by Gooby's moderators.
I looked in the mail and I saw something in the mail that said Islam chat. I opened up the book or the mail and it's a copy of the Quran in English. And then according to this, it's like from some company out of New Jersey. This is just getting absolutely ridiculous. I know a few other people that are also going through this, whether it be specifically with this book or any other piece of religious literature. But I'm beyond fed up with this shit. Okay? I don't need this. I did not consent to having this stuff sent in the mail. Okay? This is absolutely ridiculous. I don't tell anybody where I live. You'll know this name. JustGooby. Or if you're in the Roblox community, you know this guy being tied to next door neighbor, or whatever the guy's name was. Sorry to that guy, I can't remember his name. But this guy, I've heard either himself or at least one of his goons in his server most likely send the Quran. Now, why would JustGooby try to orchestrate this, or some of his goons? Well, because JustGooby himself has had issues with me for the last 2 years. I've seen so many, like a boatload of screenshots so far of either him or his moderators / goons in his server wanting to dox me. I don't know what his motive is or why he's going after me, but it's like, dude, Gooby, you might want to be more focused on not having a server that actually sends out child porn and all that shit, and you dropping the N-word and all this other bogus shit that has been exposed in videos. Be more focused on fixing yourself, because you're a pretty fucked up individual.
I honestly feel really bad for all the victims of Gooby, because the people who were doxxed by him and his goons had their whole family in big danger of harassment and possibly swatting. Now, I want to talk about another person known as Samantha, who was supposedly doxxed by one of Gooby's friends known as Santa, or legally referred to as Octavian. But Gooby, Octavian, and some others were talking about Samantha in a weird way too. Just keep in mind that Samantha was a minor at this time, so it's very possible that Samantha could have been a victim of grooming as well. Also remember the name Octavian, because that name will come up multiple times throughout the duration of this video. And one last thing I want to mention for this section is that one of Gooby's own moderators leaked someone's personal information in the server for everyone to see, uncensored. And I'm censoring this image for obvious reasons. I just can't imagine how that person felt after finding out that the majority of their private information, if not all of it, was spread on a public Discord server they were in. But now, let's dive deeper into some more of Gooby's deplorable actions that can be considered some of the most vile things I've ever seen someone do on the internet.
Yo, are you looking for a crazy Discord server to join? Come join my Discord server, Gooby's Gaming Center. You can be as toxic as you want.
Now, once again, this next segment of the video may be considered triggering to some users. So if you are sensitive to topics such as grooming, pedophilia, and suicide, then I suggest clicking to this timestamp. But if you want to continue watching, then just remember that you have been warned. So if you don't know by now, Gooby has a Discord server where the majority of people in it are under the age of 18. His server has been up for years now, and the server still hasn't been banned yet because he still chats in there literally just as recent as only a couple of months ago. Although his Discord server is pretty dead by now, he has still been active in it. Now, Gooby has groomed multiple minors, to put it simply. In his very own Discord server, he would post pictures of his you-know-what, which keep in mind that his server is promoted to the eyes of underage teenagers and fans of Napkinnate who are also children. And not only multiple people had said that he would post his own nudes to a Discord server where the majority of members were minors at that time, he would also post Lolicon, which is basically an anime version of CP, in which he in fact tops that off by saying it's technically legal, which totally makes it completely okay to post that. And he has also sent gore according to this person, and he has even sent straight up NSFW within the server. But to make things even worse, he would also add minors on Snapchat and not only send them nudes, but do weird things like reading him bedtime stories and other weird things related to that. Keep in mind this dude is in his late 20s to early 30s, interacting with minors on Snapchat and Discord in some of the most disgusting and vile ways possible. And one of Gooby's members claimed that Gooby had a girl named Alexa added on Snapchat when she was just 12 years old. There are many instances of Gooby interacting with minors on Snapchat specifically, and it gets worse, believe it or not, because there are around 12 confirmed victims of Gooby that have all came forward, and they were all groomed by him or his server moderators. And his moderators have done stuff just as bad like in these screenshots right here. And pretty much all of his friends and moderators promote this type of behavior. And in total there are around 25 victims in total, and there is actually a whole document and video made by Destructor specifically on most of the victims of Gooby and his friends. I'll link that down in the description below so you can check that out for more info. But there was a specific victim of Gooby who not only came out about it but also provided an audio recording explaining how they knew Gooby and what they did. This anonymous victim's voice pitch has been changed because they want to remain unknown, of course.
So I first heard about Gooby when I was really young. I was a fan of both him and Napkinnate. I joined Nate's Discord one time and saw Gooby there. Gooby also had his own server, but it was insanely toxic. Anyone defending Gooby or downplaying what Gooby has done is obviously brainwashed and is a manipulated soldier of his. I joined Gooby's server once out of curiosity. There was so much inappropriate anime and lawless, along with explicit child photos that were spread around while I was in their server. Gooby enabled and encouraged this type of behavior. His goons like Stefan, also known as DJ, Alexa, Ogden, Ari, Nathan. No, not Napkinnate. There's a different person named Nathan in Gooby's community that doxes kids. Are soldiers of his. They also need a life evaluation. Gooby would DM you if you were a girl in his server too. I feel bad for most of the girls who interacted with John. Gooby has traumatized an insane amount of people. He hated me because I asked why he was doing this. He banned me from his server for calling him out on his behavior. He still does it to this day. Gooby, just Gooby, Richard Gooby, Gooby yes, Papa Gooby, whatever the internet name he goes by. His real name is John or Richie. He needs to be in jail.
And in Destructor's video, you can see multiple people coming out about Gooby and explaining their experience with him and the stuff he would do to them, which is absolutely deplorable and pedophilic. I will now be showing some of the conversations between Destructor and these victims. So this victim here claims that Gooby added them on Snapchat when they were only under the age of 18 at that time, although I don't know the specific age. Gooby would basically try to groom them and message them inappropriate things towards them in ways that are so vile that I don't even want to read the messages out loud. And it's not just this specific victim alone. There was another victim who came out with a similar explanation to the last one. Gooby would start voice calling this individual late at night and would try to make them do lolly voices and say his name. And if you thought it couldn't get any worse, then you're far from the answer. According to this person, they state that they were in the Napkinnate friend group, and says that Gooby had more interest in quote-unquote younger girls. And things got so bad to the point where they even told Napkinnate himself as to what was going on, into which he responds by telling Gooby to back off. Supposedly, what they are saying here is that Napkinnate knows about some of Gooby's pedophilic actions, which could explain why Gooby would randomly disappear from Nate's channel sometimes when he would actually upload. Also, Gooby would ask for nudes from this victim when they were underage. When they would say no, Gooby would try to play it off as a joke, and even if it was a joke, which it most likely isn't, that's still a very weird and inappropriate joke to be making towards a minor, especially when you're that old. And this victim was only 14 to 15 years old when they were groomed. Absolutely sickening. Now, there's another victim who claims that Gooby asked them for nudes as well. Once again, this is a minor. Are you starting to see the pattern? Exactly, because Gooby is a literal child predator. There are more examples of this type of behavior as well, but like I said, if you want to read the full conversations between Destructor and these victims, then go check out his video, which is linked in the description. But this next piece of information I'm about to talk about is very serious. And like I previously stated at the beginning of this section, you have been warned. But anyways, let's get right into it. So allegedly, Gooby and his friends made a young girl take her own life. And how do we know if this unfortunately happened? Well, I have been sent some proof that is meant to be kept confidential due to privacy reasons, but I will say I've seen funeral photos for the supposed girl's family. So this case could indeed be true, which I truly hope it isn't. But if it is, then condolences for the family in question, because that is just a tragedy and losing your own daughter must be heartbreaking. I genuinely hope that Gooby and his goons get all the jail time they deserve, because they were probably the reason a girl took her own life. Which once again, if it's true, then I personally hope that Gooby and his friends rot in prison for the type of stuff they all did. But now I'm going to be talking about a couple of victims that I'm allowed to speak about because the others would rather remain anonymous, which is understandable. So looking back on my Gooby Files Part 1 video, I talk about 2 victims of Gooby. The first being named Phoebes, who was groomed, and the second who has remained anonymous. But there is another victim who I'm about to talk about who is named Chrissy, and she was also allegedly groomed by, you guessed it, Gooby himself. In this screenshot you can see Gooby acting creepy towards Chrissy. Already a big red flag right off the bat. And in this screenshot you can see her talking about the server, the deleted user is Chrissy, and it's said by her that Gooby hates her and banned her from the server for no reason, and even says that Gooby is just mad for what he did. But ever since those messages have been sent, there hasn't been any sign of activity of Chrissy whatsoever. It's been said to me by multiple people that she has a lot of proof on Gooby, but she disappeared from the internet entirely for no apparent reason. And from what I know, her friends are very worried about her and nobody really knows what happened to her. A very concerning case nonetheless. It's also worth mentioning for sure that Gooby does have CP, and so does some of his moderators / server members, which if you don't already know, CP is illegal and owning it can get you in serious trouble with the law enforcement. Now to make matters extremely worse if they weren't bad already, Gooby has said stuff like this, which I'm not even going to say what the messages contain, I'm just going to let you read it for yourself. This is just disgusting, I don't even know what to say anymore. And here you have a screenshot of Gooby trying to justify his pedophilia. But now that we have gone over everything Gooby and his friends have done in terms of grooming, doxing, and harassment, let's go over some responses from him and his friends.
Nobody takes you getting sent child porn on a daily basis out of context. You don't get that out of context. So your defenses are fucking stupid.
Now, Gooby has surprisingly made a response to the evidence on him in some of his bios, including his Roblox one. But to sum up this response, he basically claims that people take everything he says out of context, and there can be proof of the stuff he said being taken out of context. Okay, just wait a second here. How can literal images of underage children in your own server be taken out of context? Just a simple question, I'll wait. Exactly, it can't be taken out of context because the context is right there. He also goes on and says how people Photoshop his messages too, like there wasn't victims who came out about Gooby or anything like that. He also says that he is a proud LGBT member and how he's gay. Okay, that's cool and all, but that doesn't excuse you for being a little child predator. I'm sorry. Call me what you want, but in my opinion, just because you're gay or whatever, or doesn't even matter what you are, it doesn't excuse you for grooming minors and traumatizing multiple people. I feel like that's just some excuse to cover up his horrible actions, and responses like this have been seen multiple times from people just like this. Gooby is a straight up pedophile who is in his late 20s to early 30s who grooms children, simple as that. It's beyond Roblox at this point, and it's at the point where he should literally be put behind bars. Also, it's worth mentioning that Gooby is aware of who me and Destructor are. And if you forgot who Destructor is, well, he's another YouTuber who made videos exposing Gooby who collabed with me on my previous video on him. And he's helped out a lot for sure, so I give big credits to him. But I've been told that Gooby was even going to strike my video down, which was very expected. But apparently he didn't, because if he did, then that would prove all my points which I've mentioned in the document and the Gooby Files Part 1 video. Keep in mind, that's what I was told, and I'm not 100% sure if Gooby was actually going to strike my video down or not, but I personally wouldn't be surprised. I also want to talk about a response from a Gooby moderator, aka Octavian. Someone who is anonymous confronted him about the Gooby Discord server and the actions that took place within it. Octavian responds to the question, why are adults sending news in the general channel within the server where underage children are in, with basically saying that it's a private server with friends. That is a stupid answer because once again there were underage children within the server at that time, and it wasn't even private for all of its time of existing because it was literally promoted on Gooby's own channel. Not to mention that Octavian then basically admits that Gooby is making inappropriate jokes around a then possible kid at the time. This is just honestly disgusting and deplorable behavior, and since we went over pretty much everything that these people did, let's go over the investigation. So me, Destructor, and others went on a live stream on May the 27th on the YouTube channel known as the Riz Master Linguini God. And we basically just talked about Gooby for a little bit, then we all worked together to try and find Gooby's location, full name, etc. The main goal for this whole entire investigation is to simply get Gooby arrested in hopes to finally eliminate another pedophile off the face of the earth, which is also one reason why I'm making this video. So for the better half of an hour or so, we all tried to get as much info as we can on this guy, and thanks to the chat, they helped us out a lot as well. But unfortunately, as of now, I cannot show any clips of the stream in this video because the Linguini God channel was terminated. Could it be because Gooby and his gang took down the channel themselves? I'm not too sure. But just to clarify all of our information we have on Gooby so far, Gooby's real name is John, with his last name supposedly being Vasquez or Vask, according to this person who has info on Gooby, although it isn't quite confirmed yet. John supposedly lives in Malden, Massachusetts, and was born in Puerto Rico or Guatemala, and that information is most likely confirmed and by multiple people. And it's also worth mentioning that John works a night shift at some hospital in Malden as well. That's about all we know about him so far. Now to continue our investigation, we actually confronted someone that has a lot more information. You guys remember Nitso? The guy who was one of the first people to come out about Napkinnate allegedly being arrested, who I've previously mentioned near the beginning of the video. Yeah, we confronted that guy. It was a pretty long discussion, so I'll only be including some of the important parts, but if you want to watch the full confrontation, I'll leave it down in the description below. But with that out of the way, here's what Nitso had to say. Oh!
Hello!
Yeah.
Hello?
Nitso?
Hello, Nitso.
Hello.
What's up?
How are you doing today?
Shit, yeah, I'm good. What are the questions?
So first of all, I want to check the validity of a claim that you're like going around to these Gooby videos and claiming that 60% of it's wrong. Is that your account? Is that you?
Yeah. Yo, this is a big voice chat.
Yeah, it's a big voice chat. A lot of people want to hear it.
You guys want to hear about the whole thing that bad?
Just the 60% you think's wrong. Or you could tell us the 40% that's right.
Yo,
either way.
When did I post my Nate video? Like August? And ever since then, everyone's still till this day trying to find stuff. Well, like, why? Like why?
Whoa, hold on. Can you answer the question first, though? What 60%'s wrong with the video?
A lot of the things that was said was taken out of context.
Okay,
a lot of the
are you in the
were
position to
mostly
put
jokes.
context into the things that were said? All I'll say is he was trying to talk to somebody who he really shouldn't have been trying to talk to. How about that?
Okay, wait. So how do you know a lot of this stuff is like most of the things he said, I know he said, but the thing about him being a pedo and doxing and like, you know, saying the N-word, maybe the hard R. How do you know a lot of that is like facts?
I have mountains of Discord screenshots. I've been trying to contact people that can disprove any of these screenshots. He openly talks about CP being traded in his Discord server. How is that? Like, how is that taken out of context?
He sent like CP stuff.
There was blatant child porn on his server. He commented on it. He said, "Oh, bro, that's CP." He's made comments on his server about it being sent to him. I'd rather just talk to him himself. That's really the goal.
He's
so
not
clammed
gonna
up.
talk. He's not gonna talk to anyone. Me and him talk almost, I don't know what, every day almost. But he's not gonna talk to no one else. He's just living life.
Right, but he doesn't want to openly state. He's not trying to disprove anything. Does he understand that people are mad at him? Does he understand there's a lot of disdain towards him right now? That could be quelled pretty easily if he just puts context to the things that he thinks are taken out of context. I've asked you, and so far you've been unable to contextualize anything.
Like the things I know, I can't say it, but most of the screenshots that you have, some of it is out of context.
Okay, so to start, Nitso himself said that the things he knows, he can't say. Just keep that in mind as these clips play, because that statement in itself will become more apparent as the video goes on.
He hasn't talked to you about any of this stuff? Or does he just say that it's taken out of context? Because that's not good enough for anybody, and I really hope you understand that.
A lot of, I asked him about it today. A lot of the screenshots, apparently, that you guys have, I don't know, you guys have like hundreds of screenshots. A lot of it is either inspect elemented, taken out of context, or made up. Is what he told me. So, like, my video was posted, back in August?
Yeah.
Well, what's your, like, purpose into, like, wanting to find a lot of these things? Like, do you just... Like, not trying to be disrespectful, obviously. Do you guys just not have anything to do?
This is where things start to get kind of heated.
If you're asking why I'm doing this, it's because, like, don't f with kids. Do you like to fuck with kids? Is that why it's so hard for you to grasp?
No, obviously not.
Is that... Well, no. Like, it seems like you are having a hard time understanding why I'm here. So I'm going to make it very clear.
What I'm trying... It's been so many months, right? It's been so many months of this stuff.
It's been 2 weeks for me. No, because I'll tell you again, Gooby interjected himself on my business, okay? And I did enough digging to where I can, in good conscience, say he fucks with kids. And again, do you know why I'm here?
You can ask me questions that you want to know, but I can't answer everything.
His name's John. He works at a hospital in Malden, Massachusetts. He likes to Snapchat kids. He likes to groom minors on his Discord. He likes to try to weaponize them for some weird Discord gay ops. He intimidates children. What do you think makes him a good guy? Please counter.
I never said he's a good guy. We're cool with each other. I think he's cool. I think he's chill. He's a chill guy to talk to.
See, when you say that and you run a Discord of this type, you can understand why people would worry about that, right? When you're in cahoots with that guy and the track record he has.
Right.
I would say there comes a point where it's not Gooby's choice whether he talks or not. It's not up to him.
I mean, how are you gonna get him to talk? You guys do you know? Just, I'm not really gonna talk much.
Why's that?
Better if I don't, because he said too much. And two, if I do talk, I'll make everything worse. And it's better if I just don't say anything no more. I don't know where he lives. I know where he works and everything.
Is it a hospital?
That I can't tell you.
Now, this really got me thinking. Why isn't Nitso able to tell us that much about Gooby? And how could it get worse if he did? Now, a couple of things I want to talk about from that call, specifically about the speculation about Nitso being blackmailed. So why would Nitso not disclose certain information on Gooby? Is it because he's being blackmailed, or is it because of some unknown reason we have yet to know? I'm not sure. But I will say that Gooby has blackmailed before, so it wouldn't be surprising if Gooby did something like that. And I would even go as far as to saying that maybe Gooby reached out to Nitso and somehow blackmailed him to make those videos about him defending him, and thus having more people defend him. If that were to be true, then that could explain why Nitso himself said that he should not have made those videos.
I made 2 videos, I should have not made those 2 videos.
But that's just a speculation, or maybe even a possibility. These are multiple questions we have yet to have an answer for, but we are still searching for those answers. But one more thing I want to mention about Nitso is that sometime after that call had taken place, more screenshots came out about him, which led me to believe that Nitso himself could be defending Gooby in his actions. So this anonymous user asks Nitso if Gooby will respond to the allegations, to which he responds by saying it's all some false allegation and that it's just a bunch of 4-year-olds after him. He then says that no one actually cares, which is false, which is then followed by, and I quote, "Nah, just drop it, find a job or a hobby, like who cares? I will say myself that all the victims of Gooby care, as well as the families of those people. And around the time that this conversation took place, the majority of the people who interviewed Nitso were banned from the server. Nitso doubles down on this by making an announcement to the entire server about it. It states, anyone claiming that I'm a child predator or some stupid thing along those lines are false. Okay, nobody is saying you are a pedo. We are just saying that you are defending one. How would you know for sure that this is some false allegation if multiple victims have came out about Gooby, and with tons of screenshots of Gooby and his friends committing horrendous crimes? Who would waste their time to fake all of this? That's all I'm going to say about Nitso for the remainder of this video. Now, I want to quickly talk about Nate's arrest, and I just want to say that it is most likely confirmed. Napkinnate was actually most likely arrested, and I have a firm belief in that because there is a lot of proof out there if you do enough research. But recently, other people on our side somehow managed to get his alleged phone number linked to Nate's real name, which I won't show because of obvious reasons. Now, the reason why I say this had to be him because it is not only linked to his full name, but it also matches up with the information of the mugshot. So I decided to call the number and this happened. Alright, so we are about to call Napkinnate himself, and we're gonna see, it's not guaranteed if he's gonna answer or not, but we're about to find out. It's ringing. Hello, do you know anyone by the name of,
No, I don't. Some people keep calling for this, whoever that is, but I think they had this number before, but I've had this number for a few years, so.
Oh, okay. It wasn't Nate? Is this the wrong number? Was the person on the other line lying? I had so many questions, but I did some digging and found out that Nate has 2 sisters and a mother. Could the woman on the phone be one of those people and was just lying about not knowing Nate? The answer is quite unclear, but unfortunately, we haven't been able to find much else about Gooby or Napkinnate, except for one more piece of evidence on Gooby that has to do with some of his server members. You see, back when we were talking about Gooby's raids that his friends and server members would do, some of them posted literal CP while doing these raids. So that just adds on to the extent Gooby and his friends would harass people on. But other than that, there's nothing else that we have found on anyone relevant in this situation. If we find any more important information about this after this gets uploaded, I'll update y'all either in the comments, the document, or maybe another video if there's enough to talk about. So for now, our investigation ends. So, Gooby, aka John, is a former Roblox influencer who privated the Twitter ever since the allegations came out, and hasn't uploaded on his YouTube channel in a long time, and has also deleted some of his videos as well. The reason is unknown. He used to work for another former Roblox YouTuber very known as Napkinnate, who was arrested for domestic violence against a family member. And ever since that, John had a Discord server he promoted on his main channel, which within it, the worst things you could ever imagine would occur, which includes pedophilia, grooming, doxing, and very disgusting messages along with all of that. He and his goons messed with kids inappropriately, talked to children in the worst ways possible, and allegedly drove a minor to take her own life, and so much more. And I've said this once, and I'll say it once more. There is a possibility that there is more information out there on this guy, probably more than we can fathom. Gooby also claims that proof about the allegations could be provided if needed on his about page. He's been getting caught out for months now, but has not responded ever since that. It makes him look so much worse. But more and more information has been coming out ever since the situation got bigger and bigger. So it's not looking too good for Gooby and his friends especially. And we are continuing our investigation as I speak, and eventually we will find out the truth. Then Gooby will get the time behind bars he deserves. But finally, I hope you have enjoyed this whole investigation of a video, and I also just want to give some special thanks to people who have helped out with this in a moment. But for now, this concludes the Gooby Files.
Gooby, you can't hide forever. We're in your hood. We'll spin your block. You're probably listening right now. We want you to see. We really just, want to talk. Ha! So let's keep this party polite. Never get out of our sight.
Just face it, Gooby, you're the retard that we've chosen. Fuck with JustGooby tonight.